Hello, and welcome to this new episode of the Eigen Values podcast. This is an audio version of the Eigen Values Substack that can be found at davidturver.substack.com. This time we cover the contradictions in Labour's top two missions for government. Mission number one is to deliver economic growth, and mission number two is to deliver a net zero grid by 2030. This episode will show that these two missions are mutually exclusive. If you enjoy this podcast, please like, share, and subscribe to receive more content. A new book is being launched by Lord John Moynihan about how Britain can return to growth. This is timely because the new Labour government has set itself 5 missions to rebuild Britain. The first mission is to kickstart economic growth. They want to achieve the highest sustained growth in the G7 with good jobs and productivity growth in every part of the country. The Prime Minister even emphasised growth as his number one objective in his speech in the Rose Garden. Mission number 2 is to make Britain a clean energy superpower, to cut bills, create jobs and deliver security with cheaper zero-carbon electricity by 2030, accelerating to net zero. There is much to commend in Moynihan's book. In an article promoting it, he calls for less government spending, lower taxes and rolling back stifling regulations. These are all necessary to get back to growth. However, one thing missing from his analysis is the role of high energy prices in stifling productivity growth, which leads to economic stagnation. This article will show that their top two missions are mutually exclusive. They cannot achieve top-tier growth and a net zero grid simultaneously, partly because they are misguided by claiming zero-carbon renewables are cheaper. Achieving one will destroy the chance of meeting the other. The new government rightly assert that the key to long-term sustainable growth is through improvements in productivity. In the period 1997 to 2008, the UK was a leader in productivity growth, as shown in Figure 1, using data from the OECD. However, since 2008, the situation has deteriorated, and the UK is now a productivity laggard, as shown in Figure 2. To find out why this might be, we need to dig deeper into the UK productivity statistics. Helpfully, the ONS produces comprehensive data on the gross value added, or GVA, hours worked, and productivity of the UK economy by industry sector. Productivity is measured as the GVA per hour worked. The economy is broken down into major industries and further subdivided into sectors. Starting with major industries, it's helpful to look at how the GVA share of the economy has changed over time. This is shown in Figure 3. The lines on the chart are expressed as an index, with the share of the whole economy indexed to 100 in 1997. At the top level, services have grown faster than the economy as a whole. They grew from a 69.2% share in 1997 to 78.6% in 2023. Construction grew from 5.5% to 7.3% in 2007 and then suffered during the financial crisis, falling to 5.9% in 2012 before recovering to 6.9% in 2023. Productive industries fell from 25.3% of the economy in 1997 to 14.5% in 2023. The economy has made a transition away from productive industries towards services. The trouble is, with some notable exceptions, services and construction have lower productivity than productive industries, as we shall see a little bit later. By drilling into the sector level data, we can compare the relative growth rates, the productivity of each sector, and the result is shown in Figure 4. It's worth dwelling on this chart. The x-axis shows the relative growth compared to the whole economy from 2008 to 2023, where 100% is the growth in the whole economy. The y-axis is an index of productivity of each sector in GVA per hour, where 100% is the whole economy. The chart has been divided into quadrants. The green quadrants contain high growth, high productivity sectors such as financial services, real estate, and information and communications. Financial services is 270% more productive than the whole economy and has grown 118% faster than the rest of the economy. Clearly, we should be doing all we can to encourage these sectors to flourish. The yellow quadrant is high growth, low productivity sectors, which includes services as a whole, as well as sectors such as arts and entertainment, health and care, as well as professional science and technology. It might be argued that with an aging population, then health is bound to be growing compared to the whole economy. However, we should be asking questions about how we can improve the productivity of all those sectors in the yellow quadrant. Interestingly, the professional, scientific, and technical sector includes lawyers, accountants, management consultants, and environmental consultants. This sector has grown at 153% of the whole economy, yet is only 95% as productive. Perhaps we should ask the consultants to heal themselves. The white quadrant contains low growth, low productivity sectors, including construction, education, wholesale, and retail. The red quadrant that shows low growth, high productivity sectors is the most worrying. Mining and extraction, which includes oil and gas, is the most productive sector in the whole economy. It has not only shrunk relative to the whole economy, but it has also shrunk in absolute terms from 29.4 billion GVA in 2008 to 14.2 billion in 2023. It remains the most productive sector despite GVA per hour falling by about half since 2008. A similar story emerges for all manufacturing and productive industries. They are more productive than the rest of the economy, but their share of the economy has shrunk since 2008. The GVA per hour for electricity and gas supply is probably skewed by high energy prices, because as we saw in an earlier article, productivity of electricity generation has been falling in terms of terawatt hours produced per hour worked. If we were to boost productivity and economic growth, the productive industries in the red quadrant need to grow faster than the rest of the economy. In summary, low productivity sectors are growing faster than the economy as a whole, and many high productivity sectors are growing more slowly, with some even outright shrinking. It should come as no surprise that the overall productivity is lagging that of other countries. Now let's explore the role of energy costs in this conundrum. Energy is required to make things. Expensive energy makes it more expensive to make stuff. We can get an explanation of why productive industries are lagging by looking at energy costs. As shown in Figure 5, according to Government Data Table 5.4.1, the UK had the most expensive industrial electricity price in Europe in the latter half of 2023. Moreover, according to the IEA, which sadly does not include the UK in its chart, German industrial electricity prices were 2 to 3 times more expensive than the US and China in mid-2022. See Figure 6. This probably means that UK industrial electricity prices are even more expensive than China and the US. There's a similar story with gas prices. At the time of writing, UK and EU gas prices are roughly 5 times more expensive than gas at the Henry Hub in the US. It's clear the reason the UK and much of the EU is deindustrializing is because of high energy costs. It's simply cheaper to make things abroad. Of course, making things abroad probably also makes the global CO2 emissions worse than if we made them at home. Labour's plan for growth include planning reform to build 1.5 million new homes and creating a national wealth fund to invest in jobs. It's obvious that we need to build more houses, but construction is less productive than the whole economy, so boosting construction is not going to achieve their objective of growing overall productivity. They're going to borrow to create the National Wealth Fund and use the money to spend on technologies such as green hydrogen and carbon capture and storage, both of which will make energy more expensive. Labour has also awarded large pay rises to teachers, train drivers, and NHS doctors without demanding any improvements to working practices or productivity. With more pay for no increase in output, the already weak productivity in transport, health, and education is bound to deteriorate further. Labour also wants to increase the windfall tax on oil and gas and remove investment allowances. It's been reported that these changes will sound a death knell for the North Sea oil and gas industry. In effect, their tax policy is going to kill off our most productive industry. We then come to Labour's energy policy. They've announced plans that GB Energy will spend on floating offshore wind, tidal power, and green hydrogen. In AR6, floating offshore wind was awarded contracts at £140 per megawatt hour in 2012 prices, or about £195 per megawatt hour in today's money, which is about 3 times the recent wholesale electricity price. Tidal Stream Power won contracts at £172 per megawatt hour in 2012 prices, or a staggering £240 per megawatt hour in 2024 prices. In December, the previous government announced the results of its first green hydrogen auction. The average price offered was about £175 per megawatt hour in 2012 prices, which equates to about £244 per megawatt hour in today's money. Electricity made from this green hydrogen will probably cost around £500 per megawatt hour. These prices compare to market rates of about £65 per megawatt hour in the first 4 months of this financial year. GB Energy is going to push up electricity prices to even greater heights. Moreover, the awards for solar onshore and offshore wind in AR6 are at 2024 prices are also higher than the current market rates as shown in Figure 7. Higher electricity costs will lead to a further decline in our productive industries. Even worse, high energy costs function as a tax on the whole economy and will stifle growth in other sectors and leave consumers with less disposable income. In conclusion, Labour's policies are delivering the exact opposite of what is needed to achieve their primary mission. If Labour wants to boost productivity and economic growth, they need low energy prices. If they continue down the path to net zero, higher energy costs are inevitable. It is mission impossible to achieve both growth and net zero at the same time. If they really do want growth, they need to pursue a different path. This will be to abandon net zero and end subsidies for renewables, cut the windfall tax, license new oil and gas, and get fracking. Boosting the oil and gas sector will increase supply of gas, bring down prices, improve productivity, and create a platform for growing the whole economy. Thank you for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe to this channel to receive more content, or sign up at davidturver.substack.com.